As we previously discussed, the Montreal Canadiens have some roster decisions to make. They've started by placing Jacob Delarose on waivers, plus Paul Stastny's injury situation for Vegas appears to be a lot worse than originally thought. We'll discuss all that coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, the Montreal Canadiens have placed forward Jacob Delarose on waivers. Now, as we also previously discussed here before and briefly talked about, the Montreal Canadiens do have some roster decisions that need to be made here sometime in the near future. They are already carrying 14 active forwards on their roster, and they have 2 forwards, including Delarose as well as Delorier, on injured reserve. As Delorier and Delarose become healthy again and to be activated off IR, that gives them 16 forwards. Well, that's way too many. We'll put them over the limit for the NHL roster. So they have some tough decisions to make, and not too many of their forwards are waiver exempt, so they can be sent to the minors without going through the waiver wire. Now, the thing I find most interesting about Delarose being on waivers is that he has not been activated from IR as of yet, at least as far as we know. So a player who's on IR cannot be sent directly to the minors. They have to be activated first. So kind of an interesting choice here for Delarose to be the guy to go. I know based on our previous video and discussions through the comment section with some Habs fans commenting on who they thought would go, it didn't seem like the consensus was that Delarose or Plekanec, who had been a healthy scratch before last night, would be the guys to kind of be put on waivers here. But it looks as though Jacob Delarose is going to go through the waiver wire to see if he can be claimed. So this tells me that Montreal would probably rather kind of cut bait here and hope that somebody would pick him up and take him off the roster. Jacob Delarose was originally a second-round selection of the Habs back in 2013. He's appeared in 119 games so far for the Montreal Canadiens and put up 19 points. So certainly not really turning out to be the player that they had hoped for. And right now, that 2013 NHL draft class is not looking the best for their early selections. They also selected Michael McCarron with their first-round selection. And as we know, McCarron has struggled to become a regular NHL player as well, and currently has started this year again in the American Hockey League level. But he has got off to a pretty decent start, by which I believe he has 3 points in 4 games. So you never know. Maybe the future is a little bit brighter, but so far their early selections in the 2013 draft just are not working out for this club. So Jacob Delarose will be on waivers until noon Eastern time tomorrow, so we'll see if he ends up getting claimed or not. It's hard to say for sure if he would. There is a possibility that he could clear, given the lack of consistency and the fact that he was just injured. Might shy teams away from making a claim. So we'll see what happens, but before he can be assigned to the American Hockey League, he does have to be activated from injury reserve first. One of the other big questions around the Montreal Canadiens roster, one of the easier solutions, I guess, would be to take Jesperi Kotkaniemi, either have him go back over to Europe or to play at the American Hockey League level. Now, he's one of the few players that are eligible to go down and play that they could easily take off the NHL roster here. I know early on in the season, the Habs seem to be pretty happy with his performance and whatnot, so we'll see what happens here, but I'd love to hear your comments down below in the comment section. Do they keep Kotkaniemi? Do they make another move? I mean, they have too many guys here. At least one more forward, possibly 2, kind of need to go. They don't need to carry that many guys. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section on the Habs roster choices here, because I do have some additional decisions that are going to have to be made here sometime in the near future. Assuming Delarose clears, they could eventually assign him to the American Hockey League once he's activated from injured reserve. Do they keep Kotkaniemi? What else do they do here to kind of trim things down? Because with all the guys that are healthy and unhealthy right now, they have 16 forwards, which is too many. What do you think are the best choices here for the Habs to trim down their forward group on their NHL roster? Now, speaking of other news regarding waivers, the New York Islanders, as I mentioned yesterday, had signed forward Steven Gionta, but he did require waivers to be assigned to their NHL roster. He did end up clearing as of noon Eastern today, so he can now officially join the Islanders roster and is expected to get into the lineup here in their next game. So that now is official, and he will join the NHL roster. Now, also, as I mentioned, Paul Stastny of the Vegas Golden Knights was originally diagnosed with an injury, and they originally indicated that he would be out for about 3 games in order to reevaluate the situation to determine what needed to be done or how long he would be out. And the news has gotten significantly worse for Stastny and the Golden Knights. Originally, they were hoping he would only be out short term, but right now it's looking like it could possibly be around 2 months. Now, they're not saying that 100% is going to be 2 months. I guess the best case scenario is month to month, but the fact that he's only been out so far for a few days, you're looking at probably at least 1 month, but it very well could be 2. and you just never know with some of these injuries. It can be hard to predict. So that's a big blow for Vegas. As we know, Vegas Golden Knights have kind of started slow out of the blocks here. They do have a couple of wins, but certainly had some games that didn't go the way they were hoping for. Max Pacioretty started slow with 1 goal. Alex Tuch has been out. So 2/3 of that second line, really between Stastny and Tuch being out of the lineup, certainly didn't help Pacioretty's production and hasn't helped the team. Obviously, their scoring depth here has been greatly impacted. I mean, the top line of Karlsson, Marchessault, and Smith has done okay. They're not quite living up to last year's standards as of yet, but they are producing at least at some level here. They are getting some goals on the board. I'm sure they'd like to increase that a little bit. You certainly can't blame them for the reason the team hasn't won more games. This is an overall team game. The defense hasn't been as good as it needs to be. Fleury was playing good, but not spectacular like he did last year. But the big thing for me is Vegas is really missing 2/3 of their second line here for some time, so that's certainly not a help at all. So this certainly is not the news that Vegas was looking for here. This is a big blow to this team. They're already kind of struggling. They put together some wins, and now they're going to be without their number 2 center for an extended period of time. So that's certainly going to put some pressure on some other guys in the bottom 6 to kind of step up and increase their production here to help this team win some hockey games here in the near future. There was also a comment from yesterday's video addressing some of the major injuries gone down here and recently in the NHL on the Justin Schultz one in particular, where he's going to be out for the Penguins for about 4 months. I was asked if I thought they might go shopping for some extra help on the blue line since he's such a big part of the defense score and he's going to be out for a big part of the season. 4-month time recovery here. Likely is going to put him arriving back sometime, hopefully in March, and that's if everything goes well. At this point, Schultz is likely going to be back with maybe a few weeks left in the season and get some games in before playoff time, assuming the Penguins continue to to play strong here and be a playoff team, which I fully expect them to do. But I wouldn't be completely shocked if they did go out and get some help on the blue line. But I do think they're going to kind of see how things go. If Olli Manna can step up his game, but they also need Jack Johnson to do the same. I think both of those guys kind of didn't have the greatest starts to the year, in my opinion. They still have the youngster Riikola as well, and he did play very well in the preseason. So I guess they're probably not going to make any rash decisions here. I do expect them to kind of ride with those guys for a while, see how things go. But I would not be completely shocked at some point here if things don't improve on the back end for the Penguins that we do see Jim Rutherford make a move of some kind. I'm not really going to speculate at this point about who he might go after because it's really hard to say, but the blue line very well might need some help with Justin Schultz being out for an extended period of time. So make sure you leave your comments down below. How is Vegas going to handle this long-term injury here with Paul Stastny possibly being out for 2 months? And do you think the Penguins are going to go shopping for some help on the blue line with Justin Schultz being out so long as well? If you're new to the channel here, hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.